Let's roll. Hey everyone, what's going on, bro?
Hi.
Wow, you guys are killing it. You guys are here super, super early. Already got a crew in it. Frank, Shauna, shout out to the early crew. We appreciate it.
Isaac.
Oh wow.
Super chat.
Yeah, we appreciate the super chat. Yeah, we definitely welcome super chats. It's an awesome way to support us as well.
Early super chat ever.
Really, yeah, definitely the earliest
For
ever.
real.
You don't have to say anything.
Yeah. That thumbs up button as well. We got to play around with that YouTube algorithm.
Let's see here.
Isaac
Sammy,
is a huge support.
Yeah, I've always been supportive.
Sammy, look out! There's a huge video dropping on Tuesday. I'm actually sweating just because I just finished recording it.
Yeah.
So be on the lookout. You're not gonna want to miss that. Volcanic Constrictors. He's out there by you, bro. I was just talking with him briefly. Yeah, that's what was talking about the Desert Ghost Clown project for a while back and getting Red Stripe into
okay.
Yeah. But he just got his first rack, which is very, very interesting to see what he actually got. We need to actually bring him on and have a full-blown conversation with him if he can get over his nerves. I told him you did, so you do great.
I did. Come on now.
Definitely.
I have my nerves.
After you do it once, I mean, it might take a little bit, but yeah, after you do it a couple times,
it's funny. Right. We're doing, well, I know I did specifically. Audra is weird because she's like kind of a closet case perfectionist. But I tell her, I'm like, man, just cut the camera on and start recording. So a lot of times I'll edit, mispronounce words and things like that out. And then I just got into the point now where, I mean, a lot of times I'll leave it because, I mean, nobody's perfect. We strive to be flawless, but nobody's perfect. People are going to make mistakes, so I like to try to, along the way with being transparent with the people, we put that content out there as well. Let other people feel comfortable. Record your content. Put your content out there so we can
nobody cares about a blunder or misstep.
At all. Shout out to Brian.
Even had
bro, for real.
Worked out, Tim.
Yeah, I was just.
We know you're just talking to Tim. I see it constantly. Instagram.
Look, hey, she's always hating on the bromance between me and Darren, me and Tim. I just told her sometimes she has to play second fiddle.
Yeah, we'll see if he says that.
What's going on? I know, right? She's threatening me.
Always.
Hey Zeus, what's going on?
Blade
and X Reptile.
That's cool. Jimbo.
I haven't seen that one.
Most of you. Yes, absolutely.
So, what Jimbo is talking about is the whole reason of why we're here. We're here to speak with D Reptiles. Primarily Corey. I speak with her dad as well, back and forth through text, and we got to meet them in person in Tinley, which was awesome. We did. And took pictures.
Yes, we did.
Really cool.
She's such a sweetheart.
Man, they're awesome. Period. All together, and it's very important. Us being new, 2+ years in now, 2.5 years in. But
that's crazy.
I know, right?
2.5 years. Wow.
And Darren over a decade. Because he's he's a little old, but he's still kicking and fighting and kicking. I'll say, sometimes you got to fight back and forth with your friends and buddies when they're going down the wrong path, and just be like, hey, it really is.
He's setting his way.
Yeah.
I admit it. I do it all the time.
It's like arguing with your grandpa,
Well, really? Come on now.
I gotta throw the old jokes at him. But what's going on, Cuddle Time?
Hey, Melinda.
Bash we got to get him on as well. Greg is awesome. He's a wealth of knowledge, and his eye for clarity, production, and even marketing is very important. And I definitely want to get him on and talk about a few different things.
Having a lovely Sunday. Yes, I think we are. Thank you again.
Almost through everything. Melinda, Greg, what's going on? So.
Yeah,
I think we've almost. Oh no, boost. Frank. Isaac also. E-Town Exotics. What's going on? Happy Sunday to everyone, and we appreciate you spending your Sunday. I guess it's afternoon on the West Coast and almost evening on the East Coast.
Hey, Uptown.
Yes.
He's posting lots of love on TikTok.
Yes.
TikTok.
Shauna Connor's on there too, and then
what's going on, Don C? Don Diddy.
Carter's Coils.
What's going
Don.
on? Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
Don.
Yes, sir.
Don's a good guy.
He's hilarious too. He
Bro
should really
with
be
the bro.
a comedian.
Right. Jay Slithers.
Northeast Morse. What's going on, Zach?
You guys are
you guys
here.
are really in here. We really appreciate all the support. We
Yes.
really, I don't want to say we haven't had this many comments before.
Not
we
in
really
the first of it,
started
yeah.
getting
It's Corey.
rocking.
She's bringing the people.
It's the
Why is this thing
Yes,
different?
definitely.
Thank you.
Isaac has been leading the path, especially with super chats and just being supportive in everything he posts, whether it's with reels and shorts and everything. We really appreciate
you. Well,
and my homie
the
Keith,
man.
definitely representing. Okay.
Thank you.
Everybody.
Huge
shout out to everybody up to this point. We are up to date on the comments. So if you guys have any comments, just any questions, throw them in the comments. We'll make sure we get Corey to answer them.
Yes.
And without further ado, we're going to rock and roll and bring on K&D Reptiles.
Here they are.
Hey, guys.
Hi.
So, right out the gate, I'm going to ask you a really, really cool question. Number one is K&D Reptiles. We know you're Corey. Explain why you decided to go with K&D Reptiles. Is it just simple, straight to the point, or what made you stumble upon your name?
So my name is Corey and his name is Justin. So we put it together and it's K&D, and we collected reptiles, and we were deciding if we wanted to do snakes or reptiles, but we decided to do reptiles because we didn't know if we were going to get all types of other stuff.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
Well, it's good. You have like sort of an umbrella, so you can kind of put anything up under there.
And it's definitely a blanket. It covers everything. We ran into that as well. We did a few videos on it.
We did.
Because we own Flawless Crested Geckos, which is the umbrella where you guys met us out in Tinley at. But we had no idea that we were going to diversify or expand into ball pythons when we started. So you kind of throw yourself into a funnel.
Well, let's put it this way. I didn't.
Right. Well, yeah. But, when you're married, when you're married and you're a team player, He
was like planning that for 2 years.
But you always get on a winning team.
I will say though, when she came up with the K&D, I kind of tried to play with it, and I'm because she's a kid, I tried to go with the name Candy, and that's why there's like some like gumball drops and stuff like that in the logo, and it's more of like a kid's drawing as opposed to like a super professional logo or something like that.
Right.
Love it.
It's fun because now, before the video, obviously, because we met you in person, meeting people in person after you kind of have conversation back and forth via social media is interesting. I'm definitely happy and had a blast having a full-blown conversation with you at Tinley. But even Darren and myself, we were talking like, wait a minute. We want to be supportive of the kids getting into the industry, into the hobby. And when we were messaging back and forth previously, before we knew it was, daughter and dad, we're like, there's no way this young lady is having a full-blown conversation with me and back and forth. We're like, wait a minute. And that's when Darren was like, wait, is it okay with your dad?
Was perfect.
Yeah, everything was perfect. So we're like, we need to make sure that we are not like full-grown men having conversations.
My dad does like all the Instagram, and I do the videos, and I handle the snakes. Yeah. We kind of take turns with our jobs in the snakes.
Good.
Mainly because like I don't let her have any kind of social media, so I'm just letting somebody at this age on the internet is like. So I wanted to make sure that I was like, she's signed into the Instagram, so she'll comment on stuff and like posts and stuff like that. But I'm the one that carries the conversations because she's only 11, like.
And it should be,
Yeah.
Definitely. And that's more so why we were like teetering on those lines. Like, wait a minute. So we were very happy.
I'm not sure about this.
Right.
Yeah.
you know, with your logo and such, you were talking about it like being more kid friendly. And you know, honestly, I saw a comment. I think Limey's in the house and said she won't be a kid forever, and that's true. But it really does give you some scalability with what you can do as far as developing your logo and like rebranding and staying like evolving in business in general. So that's pretty cool.
Plus, at this point, you know, keeping the interest. You know, I mean, think about it. 10 years from now, she'll be like 22, and yes, you'll have different interests and different hobbies. But if you're still going at this, you're already a decade in, and still very, very young, and so much knowledge. And even being a woman at that point in time is very important, because we think, you know, snakes cross all boundaries. It crosses racial boundaries, you know, gender boundaries. Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So and it brings communication and contact between people that probably wouldn't naturally normally
hang and chill. I think
so it's really cool.
And you probably will experience this as you get more and more into the field. It's like you meet these people and you meet all those different, you know, races, religions, peers, you know, just different genders and things like that. And you realize that we're not really that different as it stands. Like, you know, we all have common goals and common interests, and we can all coexist and have a you know, a positive interaction.
So when did you get your very first snake?
Well, we got it last year for my birthday, and it's kind of a crazy story if you want me to get into
it. Absolutely.
Okay, so I had an obsession with snakes, and my dad didn't believe it. So he took me to my cousins, and I pulled out all these snakes, all these different reptiles, and my dad was like, "Oh, she's not messing around." So he got me a snake for my 10th birthday, and ever since that, we've been obsessed.
It's so much deeper than that. It's so much deep. So my biggest fear is snakes. And it's not from like this like weird thing. As a kid, I got chased by like these, you know, two big black erasers and they get 5-6 feet long, and I was like 4. I was a little kid, like, so I ran and jumped on my uncle's car and just was petrified after that. So she tells me like her favorite animal is a snake, and I'm thinking, oh, she's just trying to get a rise out of me. Like, there's no way. So we go to the zoo, and she's like, I want to go to the reptile cave, and they were feeding the snakes while we were there, and she's like, look how cool that is. And I'm like, there's a glass between her. That's why she thinks this is cool. I'm going to take her out to my cousin's house, who's got some pythons and stuff. And let's see how much she really likes snakes. And right when I get there, I'm just talking to him and like, just like, hey, you know what's cool? Is she going to be able to do this? And like, as she's like, hey, can I get this snake out? I look back, she's halfway into his tub and she's pulling out a good 3-4 foot python. And I'm like, I've never even seen her touch a snake before. And I'm like, oh my God, like, okay, so like she for real, like snakes. Like I was thinking I was gonna take her there. She was gonna be like, no, I was just kidding, and that would be the end of it, and I wouldn't have to hear anything about a snake anymore.
Right.
And
Little did you know.
that backfired on me, and now there's
we were wrong.
I'm in.
Loving reptiles is a recessive trait. Okay.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, you guys were talking about her growing up. Like, if this is something I can keep to, have her bond with me for a little bit longer than normal, because she's at that age where parents just ain't that cool no more, then I'll drop all the money I can into this, and we'll have some fun for a while.
Right. So, and another turn of events, basically, he allowed his 10-year-old to get him over his own fear.
Exactly.
And I mess with, I'll say, most of them. We got our black magic in, and it was hissing through the bag, and I'm like, all right, baby, you want me to get this one? And I'm like just praying, and she's like, no, I got it. She reaches right in and pulls it out, and it's still hissing at her. I'm like, am I a bad parent? Because like, I think that the snake might bite, and I'm still letting her reach in there instead of me being the one. Like but
go ahead and take the bite.
The snake can sense fear, and she doesn't have it, and I do. So like, God, like it's.
We'll sacrifice you. Man. It's okay.
So
you can still call 911.
He only holds the ones that are used to us. Like, he only holds the ones that are used to us. He doesn't hold the new ones. He's
Oh,
scared.
she's throwing that all the way under the bus.
Intimidated. Scared's a strong word. Intimidated.
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 He's like, what a minute.
Wait.
But
So when it starts
I'll
to
tell
clean,
you,
you're like, hey, this thing needs your help.
I'll tell you this though, man. I have like grown to appreciate like just watching the snakes, the way that the colors on the different morphs, the patterns. Like I've really grown to appreciate ball pythons. You know, I can't go as far as to say like I'm just like a snake fan,
Right.
but like I really like the ball pythons and some of the stuff you can do with it.
Yeah, I can definitely add on to that.
Yeah.
I've had like milk snakes in the past. I've had
Creepy.
blacktail crebos, which I really, really love. I love the indigos,
Like house
but
snake.
house snakes. So colubrids and corn snakes. So definitely enjoy them. Knowing what little knowledge I have on those and experience I have with just a few of those, and now with ball pythons, I can understand the major draw as a first pet for a ball python. They're really, really easy overall to keep. They're really basic. They're pretty defensive kind of biters to a sense. They're either wanting to eat or you scared them. But
And that's their
typically
like
they wanna-
last line of
Right.
defense.
They want
Like,
to roll up into a
trying
ball.
unless you're trying to get their eggs, and then the mamas don't like that.
So other breeders or people with extended experience, you know, in the industry period, they like other species and diversify. And I get it. I understand. And that's why they always call, you know, ball pythons pet rocks, because typically compared to other, you know, species of snakes, they're not very busy typically.
They're not extremely busy.
Right. And they don't get terribly, you know, large.
Yeah.
I would say they're not really they're like he was saying, they're more defensive.
Mhm.
They're not aggressive in nature typically.
And,
Like they just don't. And I just to tag into, because people have been following us for a little while. They know that I was not the person.
Right.
That was not it. It was not me that got him involved in snakes. That's for sure. It was funny because I got to meet his auntie, and his auntie said, "Oh no, we know it's not you. It's him. It's always been him. He's always been trying to bring him creepy collars."
Well, we couldn't have them. So.
Yeah, you couldn't have him. I mean, he lived in Jersey in the city. So,
Right.
but just to tag on to that, like ball pythons are really a good first snake pet. If you're going to have a snake and you've not had a snake before and you're sort of afraid of them, you do have a fear, they are really great for first timers.
So Corey and Dustin, real quick question, then I'm gonna let Darren get into some questions as well. Being that you guys are fairly new, what are maybe one or two issues you've come across in keeping the ball pythons you have right now, whether it's been finicky eaters, or maybe even a medical issue? What have you run into so far?
They poop a lot.
No.
Yeah.
You wouldn't like colubrids.
Honestly, we had gotten an acid girl back in May, and we just got her to eat about 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago. Shout out to Mike from BALLZ Fury. He actually recommended throwing some sphagnum moss inside of a tub with her just to give her some more seclusion. He said he tried that and it worked with no fail. And I tried a bunch of stuff that before that, and even went to try. I even tried live because that's what she came from, and for whatever reason, that sphagnum moss she took frozen thawed, and for the last 4 weeks is eaten without fail.
Nice. Fantastic.
That was the one big thing. The other one was when we first got in, we got the typical, we got a female albino piebald. So
that happened to us too.
that was our first experience, and it was our fault. We went to a small local show. There was probably 6-7 people there, something like that, and
it was really small.
It was a birthday present, and she was excited. So if we waited a couple more weeks, we could have went to a bigger show and had more of a selection. Not done that, but that was our fault. Lesson learned.
But we still love him.
It always starts off like that, but at least you ended up with a double recessive. I remember back in the day that albino pies were top dollar. at one
Yeah.
point, but it's just the way the game changes.
Mhm.
What's your
Yeah.
favorite morph?
I like the lavender because they show like purple, and I also like
Darren.
albino because their eyes are red, and I think that's so cool looking.
Mhm.
And I like all the morphs because they're all so like different and they're all so interesting. But those are probably my top favorites.
Awesome.
And the LC Black Magic because the one we have right now is really stunning.
Oh wow. And you have the LP Black Magic. Did you end up getting a male or because we talked about it, but is it a male or a female?
Female.
Oh wow. Okay, cool. So she's gonna have a little bit of growing to do.
And she's pied and she's het for lav.
She's really
Oh,
cool.
that's the program that we have.
Yeah.
That's right.
F-Flash, they need our boy.
Oh yeah, we were talking about that. That's
Mhm.
right. I'm sorry, I'm getting old, so my memory is going.
Yes.
Definitely. LC Black Magic.
Yes.
You old, Will. Don't worry, you old. What's
I
going on?
know.
She is a stunning, like I've seen a lot of pieds, and man, that LC it's just different.
It's phenomenal.
Definitely. Yeah. It's
Mhm.
definitely a game changer, especially not knowing the capabilities and possibilities and other combos just yet.
Yeah.
It's very, very interesting.
I'm with Corey though. I love the purple, the lavenders.
Yeah.
In fact, there was it's like a, I can't remember exactly what it's called now, but it's like when I first started looking at the snakes and stuff, and like he was trying to get me actually, over this initial fear, and it was like a champagne lavender combination, and it was just so beautiful. It really like popped, and then I saw the mimic.
Mm-hmm.
And the mimic is like really beautiful like that too. So you'll have to look up the mimic if you haven't seen the
Yeah,
mimic.
because I don't think he sold very much of it.
No, I don't think so.
No, he's holding on to that stuff.
Yeah,
Like anybody get it.
as
So
we
you can try to make as many combos as you can with that one gene.
Mhm.
Then he'll let it go.
One snake about a year ago, and how many snakes are you up to now?
7.
Oh wow, you guys are on a buying frenzy.
Yeah.
It's been slow.
It's been slow.
It has been slow, but we're starting to pick up the pace.
No.
Well, you're picking things and you're choosing
Right.
things and you're
And
being.
it's because we actually know what we're looking for now, and
That's
Exactly.
big right there.
That's
Especially
it.
get that head start of knowing what you actually like,
Mhm.
and going forward with those projects.
yeah.
For sure.
Then, like me, pick up everything.
Yeah.
Whatever I see, I like it. I want it. I don't know what I'm gonna do with it.
That's
I'll
what
pick it all up.
Well, that's one of the perks I feel like we're coming in now is there's just so much information available to you. So, just watching all the videos and a lot of people made that mistake of, and I still feel like we'll change paths again in a year. I feel like you're just constantly changing motion. So,
Evolving.
yeah, especially from where you start, you come in thinking, oh, I'm going to make everything. And then you realize that that's not feasible. And then trying to narrow down, and I talked to Darren a lot, and he's like, got to be different. So one day I sat down and I spent like 6 hours writing out every gene I could possibly write down, and when I did it. And when I did it though, so real quick on that, I'm sitting there, I spend all this time on it, and me and Darren are on the phone, and within 15 minutes, he's like naming these genes, and I'm looking at my list, and I'm like, wait, I don't have that. And Darren's like, what about this? And I'm like, I don't have that either. And he's like, yeah, you're not gonna know these. And I'm like, but I just spent 6 hours, and now I thought I knew something now. And within 10 minutes, you shredded my entire notebook. So, but during making that list, when I got to the LC, I had made a star next to it, and I said, and I put in parentheses, I don't know who has this, but when you find it, buy it.
Right.
And then like a month later, I ended up stumbling upon something that ended up being Het Lab, which, everything's kind of been Dreamsicle heavy here. And it kind of just worked out that way.
Oh man,
Darren, after working hard.
Yeah, you guys are gonna probably be working together. You and Darren. Darren is big on.
Yeah,
big.
I still love that
We have
project.
very little in that program, but Darren's big.
Yeah, we know you don't. We know you don't like the lavender. We talk about it. We talk about it all the time. Don't. Me and Darren stares to talk about it every day. He's like the biggest resource I have. Like, I mean, he is a heaven sent. Like,
Oh
the
yeah,
amount of knowledge this guy has is ridiculous,
It's
man.
ridiculous. Yeah.
And he's just always willing to talk to you. Like,
all the time.
it's so. I don't know how he has the time. Like, I think he has a job. I think.
I do, but
It's an office
behind a
job.
desk.
You know,
Nah.
very soft hands.
Behind a desk. You know, and a lot of the stuff that I listen to, I get irritated when people come and ask me questions at work, and I'm supposed to do that job, and I'm looking at them like, man,
Oh my
especially if
God.
you should already know this. It's like, come on.
Like, see, Corey, now what you need to learn about this bit of conversation, what you're hearing right now is somebody ready to retire. He's at retirement age right now. So you're going to hear a lot of the gripes and complaints of doing a job for 20 years, you know, about his knees and all this other stuff. So he's ready to retire. That's
These
all.
are fine.
That's because you low to the ground, buddy. That's all.
No, watch
you
him
know
bend over.
now?
See how fast he gets back up. It's slow. It's slow coming back up.
Oh, man. So you have the albino pie male, you have the LC pie female. What are the other 5 that you have?
Well, we have so many different stuff. It's so hard to keep it in mind.
Just look behind you.
Oh yeah, we have a pastel butter mystic.
A bell.
It's a belle. She's really pretty. Her eyes are gorgeous.
Oh.
And then we have a. It's hard to see.
Here, I'll rattle it off for you. I can do it quick. So,
Exactly.
for the Dreamsicle project, and she's about 1,300 grams right now. We got a Lav Het Pied, an LC Black Magic Pied Het Lav, and then a Mandarin Mandarin
Oh,
double
wow.
Het Dreamsicle.
Ooh.
Nice.
And then we have the bell. We've got we got the boy albino pied, and then the girl that I got for that to start getting some candy stuff is a
She's a lot.
gosh darn it, black pastel inchy acid candino possible orange dream and yellow belly.
Nice.
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 She's
Yeah.
a stunner.
Are you really gonna push the candy project?
I don't think so. Like that was, like I said, that was something that we originally got the girl or the boy, and then I didn't want to do albino stuff because, you know, it's just, nobody wants albino stuff anymore, unfortunately, even though you can make some cool stuff. So then I thought maybe candy, and that's why I got a Candino to try to go down that route to at least make something that, you know, people would want. And now it's, you know, I'm so heavily invested in the Dreamsicle, and I think I'd rather go down the path of, and I was talking to Will about this, now that I got dark stuff, going down the path of seeing what I can do with the LC and the Mandarin and take, you know, adding hypo and, you know, doing different stuff that route.
It's
Right.
crazy. It's crazy how we went from very light snakes and now
Mhm.
we're at darker snakes.
Very
Right.
dark,
Add
very,
to the
very
light
dark
snakes.
snakes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
it definitely things up.
the Super LC is like, that's something I want to get, a Super LC, a Super Mandarin, and the Super Mandarin hypo. That's like next level. So that's another route we can go there. So like back to your question, probably not, but that's still such a pretty snake, that acid that I got. So I'm not real sure what I'll do with it. Just look at it for now, I guess.
And it's fine. Fine to keep it and kind of grow it out, especially when you have a smaller collection. When you're at Darren's level and he has so many, I mean, it's different when you start kind of maxing out and hitting certain goals. You kind of have to essentially kind of what you call cut the fat a lot of times. So
Yeah, cut the
that
fat.
will allow you to focus on your main thing. But where you guys are, you're perfectly fine because your direction may change, you know, and
Yeah.
she may be ready to breed. Doesn't mean that you have to breed her, you know. She may be able to sit around for you for a year or 2 years before you decide what you want to actually do. And at that point, if you think about it, I mean, if she's already the size she is now, or a year from now, and you haven't bred her, and then you are definite that you want to move away, then you can move her on to somebody and she's ready to go. So she'll have a certain value to someone else, which will allow you to reinvest that value back into the projects you're already rocking and rolling with.
True.
So I don't think you're stuck in any sense. My opinion is you're at a great place right now. I'm actually very happy that, you're literally very defined in that direction and you're just curious on what to do with that female. Because even Darren and I, we talk about this and, on one-on-one conversations where it's like, all right, cool, you have a female and now you're looking for, a male to put to that female, not even thinking about a project, but just thinking about what you can produce. No, don't do that. Think long-term, what's the project? It's fine, to create pieces of your project that will move you forward, but it has to be a project, to focus on, unless you're just having babies to have babies. Yeah.
So our goal right now is the NR Mandarin Black Magic Dreamsicle is what we're trying to get after.
Okay.
That's the big
you're right there.
Yeah.
You're right there.
Yep.
Yeah.
So,
Is there any other recessives you guys want to add besides Pied and Lav?
I'm not sure. I know me and Darren were talking about this. When you had one part of his advice was just keep recessive small, and right now I'm at 2 with the Lav and the Pied. So if I did, I'd have to be very selective with what I want to do just because of the space. I wouldn't. I don't know if I'd be able to add a 3rd recessive and still be able to play around with the LC and the Mandarin stuff to see what we could get out of that. So I think probably keeping it 2.
Makes sense. It allows you to bring a few incomplete dominants into play as well. So within pretty much the same amount of space.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty smart. Definitely. Darren, what are you doing with Lavender Albina, the Dreamsicle project this year?
So adding Hurricane to it, ODYV to it, and then also doing the Clown Labs acid stuff. So I have a pairing going on with that. Trying to hit those.
Okay.
I hope I hit the acid Clown Lab. Ooh.
That'd definitely be impressive. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So we spoke about it in person, but what do you guys do as far as for rodents? I know you guys have only 7 ball pythons, but are you breeding your own or are you picking them up?
We do frozen thawed.
Okay.
If they were live, we try to switch them over, and if it doesn't work, we at least try to give them live like 1 time, and then we try to switch it over. But how our trick is to like move it around a lot to make it look like it's live, and they usually take it, and it works a lot.
Great.
What's your process on thawing those out?
I usually let them sit in like I get them out of the freezer about midday, let them sit in some cold water until about an hour before I want to feed them. And I got them in a Ziploc baggie and I keep it closed. When I switch it to warm water, I open up that Ziploc baggie and that smell that's been building in there all day just kind of like wafts out, and they just they freak out in here. I've got pretty good success feeding. It's that one snake I couldn't get to feed, and then that boy, and I wanted to say it was breeding season, but it wasn't even breeding. Like he started eating when breeding season I think is starting, and was not eating when breeding season was off. But for whatever reason, he just switched back on, and he's eating now as well too. So
awesome. Good. So as far as this season, you don't have any pairings for this season. It's going to be next season, correct?
Probably, yeah. And I think so we still got to pick up our boy for the Dreamsicle project. My plan was to get something at Tinley, but we had a bunch of stuff pop up around here to where I just couldn't drop the kind of money. I don't want to buy something that's gonna waste the project. You know what I mean? So I want to get something that makes sense. But if I didn't have the money to buy what I was looking for, then I couldn't do it. But I seen one snake there that Chimera had. It was a super blackhead. It was really, really nice. And I think throwing blackhead again, just throwing more dark stuff in there. it will really be really cool for the dreamsicle. So I want to get a visual dreamsicle male though, so that way, because a lot of this stuff is het, and I want to make stuff that
You don't have to.
I'm gonna be able to keep and like further the project with. So
Plus, you save on testing later on as well because you already know it'll be 100%. You know, if it's not the visual.
for
So
sure.
wait, so your female is pied het, right?
Yes, sir.
And so
No,
that male that you picked,
it's a lav het pied. Lav het pied.
lav het pied. Okay,
Yeah.
not a visual. I thought it was a visual
Mhm.
pied.
The LC that I got's a visual pied.
Right, but they're both male.
That male was super blackhead visual lav het pied.
Yeah, it was a super blackhead, dreamsicle, yellow belly, I want to say.
Gosh.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
I asked Corey. We sat in the parking lot. We sat in the parking lot for 20 minutes, like, and we had to drive back to Ohio. And she's like, "Dad, come on." And I'm like, "Hold on, I gotta decide if I'm gonna do this or not."
And I fell asleep. So our cousin he bought so much stuff, and we didn't get anything. So
Right.
I was like, Dad.
He walked in with like $100 and walked out like 5 things, and I was prepared to go and spend like good money and walked out with nothing. I was like,
Corey, what I will say, what your dad has just taught you in that moment, he might not have liked it, but that's called adulting.
Did you like it?
I didn't like it.
No, a lot of us don't like it.
My wife liked it. My wife liked it.
I liked it.
And I think I was telling you guys that Tinley, like, we had already had this set up. I don't think she's watching out there. What we were gonna do is our plan was if we bought a snake, how much was it?
$200.
$200.
I remember it. Yeah, the plan.
Yeah.
Once she said that like every snake looked the same, I was like, all right, they're all $200 then. Like, I mean,
We pulled out one of our snakes, and my mom came and said, "That looks like a snake," and we're just like.
I spent a lot of money on that snake. So right. Like I said, now everything's gonna be $200. So that way, it's like, oh yeah, can't get mad at a $200 snake.
Yeah.
Snake. I don't know how to play this game exactly.
Look like a snake.
Oh my god. So once you start breeding, what direction you're gonna go in as far as incubation? What kind of incubator you're gonna go with? Are you gonna make one or?
No, I'm not that. I mean, I like to think I'm somewhat crafty, but I don't want to take the chance with something like that. I actually just asked Darren the other day what I should do about that because, again, you know, he's my resource for everything, and the Willowbanks is what he's recommended to me, so I think that's probably what I'll end up picking up. And I don't need anything huge, so I can get one of his smaller models, and it's something that'll probably last me for a good minute. They've dropped in price as well. We have 2 of them for the geckos, and I want to say they've dropped maybe $400 or $500 a piece.
Did they?
Yeah, they've dropped tremendously. I don't know if they redesigning them or they're moving with the times, and they've made their times, whatever it may be. But yeah, they've dropped
top dollar out of them things.
Yeah,
moving with the.
We still have the hot box for the ball python, and even through the hurricane and everything, like it held, it did well. We still got eggs incubating now, but being that it's all in the facility, we really don't have to worry about cooling it off so far, because it's all kind of regulated down there for the reptiles and not us. That's why we be down there sweating. So I don't know. We need to look into that as well. So the hot box is probably going to be at this point probably half the price of Willowbanks, and they're a pretty reliable product as well. We have had zero issues with it, but I think
smaller one wasn't the Willowbank smaller one like $1,000 almost.
The ones we got 2 of the $1,200 ones. I think it was 2 of the $1,200 ones, and they're like. I want to say $800 now or $750 now.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think the cheapest one, is 500 on the hot box, 500 or 600?
Yeah, I think it's 5.
We got banana.
I think it's 5. But the equivalent of the large, we got the XL. I want to say even on a deal, I think it was like $1,100 We actually shout out to Limey. We have a OG one from Limey. We got it second hand, but it's one that was actually ran by Limey. So we're kind of holding on to that. You know,
Limey took care of it.
Yeah. As you know, you got to hold on and take care of those old relics. Hopefully, he's still in the comments listening.
Yeah, then maybe he changed the channel because he said he had to be PG.
Okay, they say, wait, I'm all about DIY to a point. Incubators look easy enough.
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree. I think
agree.
you don't want to take chances with things that you're not experts on, and that can cost you a boatload of money.
I'm pretty handy myself, and that wasn't even an option for us. I'm like, I don't want to save in that area. You know, it might be a man thing where I'm like, hey, if this did fail, I'm like, hey, it was your fault. You know, you don't want to say
You gotta also think about it. By the time you have your first clutch, is it gonna be Mandarin Dreamsicles? Like, how many people are making those?
Not a lot.
None.
Yeah,
so I think about those eggs.
Yeah,
they go
you're
bad. You're like,
really good spot. Yeah, Dustin, Court, y'all in a really good spot with those pickups that you got there, man. I would literally keep on that path. I mean, that's amazing. Such a small collection, doing it at your leisure, and still, you know, I mean, I'm not saying doing it on purpose, but you probably take a season or two and just chill and still be good, you know. So there's really no rush when you kind of map out the direction you're going in. So kudos to you guys.
I love the NR Mandarins.
Oh yeah, definitely. We only have one.
Yeah, no, I only have one.
Yeah, we only have one.
So
oh, look, you already got him waiting. You already got him waiting there.
What'd you say, Darren?
What do you do for a living, Dustin?
Oh, I'm a middle school teacher, middle school business teacher.
Okay.
You ever talk to your kids about breeding ball pythons?
All the time.
All the time.
I got kids be like, I want a snake. I'm like, you know, maybe.
Someone walked up to us, one of his students walked up to us and said, can you bring your snake to school? And I was like, no.
No. These are too expensive for me to be bringing up for your kids.
Yeah. They felt they were offended, and I was just like, she's just very protective over her snakes. I'm so sorry.
For emotion, they're an electrician.
He's
Wow.
an electronic technician. Let's see.
Jose, he built his own.
He's built his own. Works perfectly many years ago.
I'm gonna stay away from those jokes.
I mean, even if you did, like, if you have one or two clutches, those little exoterras, they work perfectly fine. When I first had my first two clutches, they're like $100. They're cheaper now. They might be like a little bit less than $100. You just put them in there, do a little egg box, 6 quart, and you can fit 2 of them in there. You're good to go.
Yeah, so but then you
every day come down to it.
What, 1 year, and then basically now that's $100 waste, and now you're stepping up. So I think y'all are right on point, getting, you know, either Will Banks or something that's gonna hold at least, I would say, up to 10 clutches, and you guys should be golden at that point.
I think I'm gonna do the water method too that I've been hearing a lot of people talking about.
Yeah, we just did a video on it. We transitioned to the water this whole season, and it saved us a nice little chunk of money. You know, a couple $100 from buying vermiculite and everything. We were buying a very specific, the one that Ozzy uses, but they only sell it like bags, so they're really thick chips. Yeah. But we don't have to buy that anymore because it's it works using water, and that's it.
I heard people just talk about how nasty.
You're in trouble.
Look, even somebody already checked out our video.
You're in trouble.
Saw Will and Ears. We recorded that a little earlier, but we had some fun with the video.
I can't stand him. Y'all.
But it was really, really
He calls me Ears because I have small ears, but they stick out. And
really, really far. Really.
I'm gonna make his ears stick out.
Oh man, see, it's just being mean.
Whatever.
Orbeez, and this is another time I've heard about Orbeez.
Yeah.
So
Orbeez probably pretty good too.
You know the Orbeez.
Orbeez are just fun.
People use those
for what?
To incubate eggs.
Yeah.
Because it holds water.
That's what I was saying. I didn't
Yeah.
know about that. And I'm like, Orbeez. Okay, we need to look into that.
She's like, heck yeah, I like Orbeez too.
I have a lot of squish balls with Orbeez, so
There you go.
Oh wow.
Huddle time.
already got
Melinda's
'em.
her first incubator, but now she has the hot box. And she's done Orbeez, water, and hatch right. Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I did
Definitely.
water this season. I was like, man, I like it.
I like it too.
Water in there, call it a day.
I like it too.
Wow.
I guess
But you do
now,
have to have like hash trays or something.
yeah,
Like a light diffuser.
we have the hatch trays in it, but then even with that, if you cut, I like actually cutting, so we'll cut maybe 55, 56 day. And then after you see them start putting their head out, which is normally a day or 2 days later, then we'll basically remove all the water from it. We'll put down a paper towel on the bottom of it, wet it, sit the eggs directly on the paper towel, put them back in the incubator. And a couple days, they're all out of the eggs and they're good. So we're kind of really on point with hatching times and when things need to be cut and when things probably are coming out of the egg. So that's something to kind of be mindful of. It's definitely not a setup where, you know, you can kind of let them hatch on their own. And what you can, but meaning the time frame, hatch on their own and come out of the egg without you putting your eyes on them, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because you don't want them to get underneath and possibly drown or get stuck, which we haven't had a problem with.
No, we haven't. Thank goodness.
So Corey, have you been nipped yet?
no, I'm very thankful. And nobody wants to be like nipped.
No.
But I will say I want to be prepared so that way I kind of know what it feels like because my dad has never been nipped before either. It's thank you. But I just want to like know so like oh, it's not going to hurt me that bad. Oh, it is going to hurt bad. So like yeah.
Yeah, it's not gonna hurt you bad. Unfortunately, I mean, I've been nipped. At this point, what, 2 times? I think it's only been 2 times, I believe. But they've been my fault, kind of not paying attention, you know, to their not respecting their space and knowing that we carry.
Oh, he was definitely not respecting.
And I got tagged. But it definitely kind of just scare you more than anything because you're unprepared rather than it actually hurting.
It was funny. One time I did a live by myself and we were showing snakes off or whatever, and it was the Wookiee?
Yeah, I think so.
I was holding it and it tagged the camera while I was holding it, but I was like, oh, I'm gonna put you back now. And I've had the babies, you know, some of the babies they'll pop out, you know, but they're just like little worms. Like, what are you gonna do? You know,
I've had hatchlings straight out the egg crate. You know, you go in there, start pulling them out, and they start getting a little bit aggressive. Like, what's going on? Grabbing everybody else, and they'll just do this.
Yeah.
Right at the air.
I'll give you a little advice. Just hopefully you're not like mid conversation or sentence because you just might let out like a high pitched yelp. Just gonna scare you a little bit. Corey's gonna be like, "Was that you, Dad?"
One time the snake, I think it was Pearl. She jerked back and my dad jumped because he's so scared. Yes, you did.
He said, "I'm scared."
He literally went, and I was like, "What?"
Intimidated. Again, intimidated.
Intimidated. He's standing on that. Intimidated.
There's not business like that.
That's my pronouns. Intimidated.
She likes to mess with me about being scared, but I think I've done a pretty good job learning like their body language and when like they want to be messed with or it's like not a time for it. So like my wife one time was like, "Why aren't you trying to feed the one snake?" I said, "Because I can tell he doesn't want to eat." Like when I open that tub and he's curled up in the hide, not showing any part of his body and has no interest in what I'm doing, and there's been rat smell for the last couple hours, it tells me he doesn't want to eat. I was like, "Let me show you this one." I open up this darn lab hide behind me that eats every week, and she's like, "Boom, what do you want?" Like
she's ready for it. Like we open it up and she's been ready.
she's a monster, man. But she's the sweetest thing. Like it's the snake that if somebody was to come over, I'd pull out to be like, hey, this is the this is the snake to mess with people, or Corey can pull up underneath her head and kind of like bring her up. Like she's very tolerant of whatever we do. But when it's time to eat, she's not the one to play with. Yeah.
She's nice, but you don't want to see her bad side, because whenever she eats, you need to look out, because sometimes I'll be holding it trying to feed her and my hand will kind of be in the tub because her rats are really heavy, so I have to get a bigger grip, and she'll like look at my hand and I'll be like, oh my gosh, and I'll have to pull it out some, and it would just be so scary.
She's the last couple of weeks though, she's gotten to the point, for whatever reason, she's been wanting me to drop feed her, and like I'm cool with that. Like I can leave it at the door. I'll come back in 20 minutes and it's gone. So
that's awesome.
I don't know if it's because her rats have gotten to a certain size and that's how she just prefers to eat now, but I'm cool with it. I'm absolutely cool with it.
I'll leave your plate right here. I'll come back and check on it.
100%. And it's always
let
gone.
me ask you a question. You really actually hold Corey the rodent in front of the snake by your hand? No tongs?
No. With the tongs.
Oh yeah, I'm about to say
like
I'm too scared to do that.
Yeah.
So and again, I was a good parent. I had to feed when we first got snakes. I was like, I'm gonna do this, make sure it's safe. So I bought like, I think they're 19 inches or something like that. Like I'm holding it from like 2 feet away, so it's impossible to get bit. So that's what she uses now.
That's me.
Man, you grab by the tails and you throw it in there. I'm like, yes, I do.
Not I. I got the ones where you feel like retigs with. Dude, I'm not playing.
This bell I got now. This bell I got now, I swear, I opened the tub this week and I was literally with the tongs, was about, I don't know, this far from going in the tub, and she was already coming out at it. I was like, girl, you need to chill. Like I mean, I didn't even get the chance to offer it. She just took it out the tongs and was like, thanks for the night. And I was like, okay, cool. Like I'm not reaching down with, no.
Yeah,
I use my 2-foot tongs.
Darren was telling me how when he grabs the tub and pulls out, he ended up getting tagged on his thumb. Since he told me that story, I never open a tub that way. I'm always, every single tub I open one. Every single one.
Let me tell you the full story what happened.
My dad opens the tubs and I just get the snakes out. So
well, usually if we're feeding, it's like a team effort. Like she'll feed some of them and I actually feed most of them. But like I'll open at a certain angle where she's already got the rat, so that way, because like I said, I learned my lesson with that bell. I went to I got stickers on there, and I just went to like rub the sticker to fix it, and she tagged at it, and I'm like, oh no, girl, like I'm not opening the tub and showing my fingers anywhere close to where you can get them ever. So
yeah, all this.
I was not expecting that.
Yep.
Well, so what happened with me is that I had a little rat, man, and this is when I was picking up from breeders. He had a little nub tail. So usually you grab him by the tail, put him in there. So what I did is when he had that little nub tail, he started coming back towards my hand. And I was grabbing the tub, but I usually hold it like this. This time I decided, I don't know, out of habit of opening a drawer. And I'm looking at him trying to hold, and I wasn't looking in the tub. As soon as my finger hit here, I went like that. She said, doop, had my whole thumb in her mouth.
Ooh.
I went like this, pulled my hand back. She came out the tub, but it's the bottom tub.
It only happens when you're not prepared, I swear. It's like whenever things are going great, it goes horrible. There's always a turn.
You pulled her whole body out the tub.
Her whole body came out the tub, but she was fine. She looked at me. She let go. She was like,
"What happened to the rat?
Out the tub. What's going on?" The rat went inside the tub because I dropped him in. It was all one motion. It was a drop, boom, push the drawer closed. It was quick. I was like, "Oh, she got me good."
I'd have had a heart attack.
She got me good. I had a little bit of a tooth on the side.
I'd been dead. I'd have been laying on the floor.
Yeah. So since he told me that story, no matter what I open up, all of them like that.
It
No
was
matter
it's
what.
more of the reaction of the chomping that you're like, oh, okay. Then once it's over, you're like, oh, it was nothing. It feels like a prick. That's it. You're good.
Yeah.
About your 11 months.
It's an
Yeah,
11 out of 10 times.
we have right now, I
That's
think,
crazy.
one female that's very, very food driven.
Which one?
It's an orange dream spot nose chocolate, actually.
Yeah,
Yeah.
those females,
Yeah.
that they'll be up to
Jump
2,400
out
grams
of
of
the
years.
tub after food. Yeah.
I used to, when we first got our first like 10 that we were supposed to stay at, the 10 that we were just keeping it small.
It is small.
10, 15 tops.
Mm-hmm.
Now 270 later. But anyway, there were two females. I called one feisty and one feisty because they were after that food. They wanted that food. And I just didn't know what feisty and feisty actually were until I saw some of the other snake breeds, because these guys are not really like that.
Yeah.
It's like one female, she'll bite you 11 out of 10 times.
Right. We don't really
have a lot of them.
Yeah, wow.
So
Look,
what?
to change pace a little bit, you have your 7, and they're going to be a whole lot bigger in a year. So infrastructure wise, what's the next move as far as keeping? How are you going to house them once they're breeder size?
Well,
I got a Super 70 back there.
Oh, okay.
it's
Oh,
They got big cubs.
All right. All right. Oh, so he's already ready.
He's
So
ready.
that's where the big females are going.
Mhm.
And then this is the space for pretty much everybody that's growing out right now. And then I got I got a little quarantine area here with the LC and the Mandarin over there.
There.
Yeah, they're on it.
I know some people kind of stay clear of them. I don't know if you have them yet. I know Darren's kind of anti hides, but we've seen a lot of positive results from utilizing hides when we move them up. So we move them up if they're a little hesitant to eat. We'll just throw like a medium-sized hide in, and typically that's kind of helped. So would definitely want to have some of those. Oh yeah, on hand.
Yeah.
Definitely on hand.
This is the one the Mandarin's about to go into, because I just got these ready because these are been in quarantine for about 5 weeks now. So
Okay.
they're about ready to come over. But yeah, I agree with you. I think the hide just give them that extra little security to help them eat a little bit. And it gives them something to climb on, a little bit of enrichment, doesn't hurt. I haven't seen an issue with it. If I did, I wouldn't use it, but I've had success with it. So that's why we kind of roll with it.
He said, yep, he got one. He said, get a Super 70. He just put one
Get
together.
another one.
Yep.
I like this. I like this Vivarium electronic stuff. Like, when we first got in, I wasn't able to afford, big ARS stuff or anything like that. And we're in a little room anyways. Like, I don't know if I'd be able to fit much in here if I did it that way. But with this, you can stack them on top of each other. They're not that expensive. So we didn't break the bank, trying to go in doing this. And that was the other part of doing it over the course of the last year and a half, is that we've spent money here and there, but it was never like a huge ton of money at one time that like broke the bank or anything like that. So we never overextended ourselves. We've never had trouble paying for our rats or, space or anything like that. Heating bill. I've been very careful not to put us into a tricky situation, because at the end of the day, you got a living animal. I want to do what's right by the animal. I don't want it to come into a situation where I can't take care of it, or I don't have the space or the heat for it, or whatever the case may be. I want to be as prepared as I can for the animal, so that way it can thrive.
Right.
Also, a reason why at Tinley we didn't get that snake is because we didn't have enough room, because we have a very tiny space. This room is tinier than you think, but we don't have that much.
I think you
space.
can fit a whole FB40 back
No, so we got plans. That white thing's gonna be gone. We got a playpen down there that the animals get to play in. That's gonna get moved to somewhere else or something. So eventually this is my wall. My wife works on this side of the room that you guys
Right.
can't see, and then this is me and Corey's wall over here. And it's
Sound like
supposed
a
to be
plan.
a split office, but my wife's like, yeah, there's snakes on this side now. There's snakes over here. There's snakes back there. She's like, how much of it's my office? I'm like, you got the desk, like you got the desk right there that you work at.
You guys are winning.
Yeah, you are.
The tag team is winning
Well,
this battle.
It helps when you got the kid on your team. You know what I mean?
I mean, technically, you're 2/3
Right.
of the whole.
Yeah,
So
it's
it kind of
amazing.
like.
Wait, so what if she has a Zoom meeting?
Oh, she's got a decorative background.
Right, exactly.
Very decorative background. And
Oh,
look
yeah.
at the
What are
stars.
those?
Look at the stars and the moon back there. I mean, that glows in the dark if she wants to get real crazy up in here. I mean, you know.
And look, I got it for you.
The rain.
Whenever we first moved into this house, this was my room, and then I switched over to the bigger room because that was my playroom. So I switched over. This became the office, and then we got snakes, and now it's just like snake office.
Yeah.
It's gonna be spilling out. But.
Hey, and on Amazon, you got a nice little $20 setup you can set up, and it'll be an all black backdrop for in case you need to do a Zoom meeting. So she wouldn't be able to complain about anything.
That's right.
Yep. The plot on mom.
The plot thickens. The plot thickens.
We're just trying to make it work. We're just trying to make it work.
So when you got the V racks, I saw a lot of good things as far as the V racks. I was actually watching American Made. He works with them a lot. And what I liked at the time, I don't know if they're still doing it now, but their racks were free shipping from their website. Are they still doing that?
If you spend over it's like $99 or $90, which if you're buying any kind of rack, you're going over $100. But I think I want to say the 5-6 level one here is like $240 or something that. And then the Super 70 I think was like $300. So like $500 for my infrastructure behind me,
and no additional shipping. That's amazing. And you can keep expanding, stack them on top. There's other things you can do, and they look great.
They do. They look great.
The interchangeable tubs is kind of what did it. It's the fact that I could put them in there as a hatchling. You know there right there is the next size up, and then you got the third size right there, which takes them all the way up to 12, 13, 1400 grams if you wanted to. I like to move about 12, but again, when they go into Super 70, it's such a big tub that it just depends on the snake. Some snakes can make the change. She made the change because she eats like a champ, but I'm worried that some of my other snakes with that bigger size won't like it as much.
Right.
As long as you have your hide, I think they should be all right. Because I have quite a bit of 70s, but I've had some that I put in there as a small little hatchling just to test it out, and they were fine.
Yeah,
that thing is over 1,000 grams now, and it was great. She took it like a champ. So,
and we don't have any 70.
It depends on the animal.
When you're breeding them, do you keep the hides in there, or would that bother them laying eggs?
I don't know, Will. You use hides. I don't.
I don't have a 70, so I know we use hides in I guess the 50 series with the ARS, and they breed, no issues. And
they have
typically we know when they're getting ready to have eggs and they're already off food, so we normally remove the hides because they're not going to be eating. They're getting ready to lay, and then they pretty much have a ton of space at that point to lay eggs. So no real issue there.
You'll see them curl up in the back on the heat and move all the substrate out the way and get their belly all the way down to the heat.
Yeah. And what substrate do you use?
ReptiChip.
Okay. You work with I guess a wholesaler or someone local?
To be honest with you, with the amount of snakes that I got, I just bought a breeder block about I don't know, 8-9 months ago. Filled up a tote, and I'm still only about
that from Snake Discovery.
I still got about a quarter of a tub left, or a quarter of a tote of it left. So I spot clean. I mean, I'm very meticulous about my cleaning. I change water every 2 days. My spot clean every day that I come in here and check if there's any kind of issue. I get it out of the tub. I actually do like a full change probably every 4 to 6 weeks, just depending on the snake and the how much it's used in the bathroom or whatnot. But it's just the amount that I got, and most of them have been smaller, so I haven't used a ton of substrate.
I like to change up the playpen because I like putting the snakes in there, and then every single time they get put in the playpen, it's always something different.
What's the playpen?
So she's talking about this right here.
Oh, that's cool.
That's the real playpen.
You can, and you can zip the top up, so like I don't necessarily have to be right on top of them. I can kind of let them do their thing. Sometimes I'll put them in there at night. Huh?
What was that really actually made for?
So if they sell it on Amazon, and the picture they show is for like guinea pigs and rabbits, and I think it's for like small dogs, and you can take it and put it outside and zip it up, and they're safe to hop around in there, do whatever. But
no humans, Darren. No humans.
My kids are all grown now. Like, man, I've been home alone. Ain't nobody here.
Yeah, okay. No, that's until you have them grandbabies. You're getting old. You're gonna be tired.
Nah.
I can see him.
Only my brother. He's the first one to have a grandbaby. It's not gonna happen.
Wow.
No.
But we spent like $20 on that thing, and it's been an awesome investment because we get every snake out at least twice a week, and they're in there for about an hour each time we get them out, unless they're in shed, obviously. But it's kind of it's been our way of socializing them and kind of getting them enrichment to keep them active, and it's worked really well for us. Like I said, I think that's a big reason that we haven't had any kind of bites or strikes or anything like that, because like I said, when they're in there moving around for an hour, again, I'm able to watch them, see their body language. So again, we know when to mess with them and when not to mess with them. And again, all that enrichment and activity that they get kind of helps with keeping them more socialized.
Right.
And it keeps them exercised, which helps a lot.
Yeah.
So I guess another question I would have for both of you guys, being in the industry or in the hobby for the last year and kind of just getting rocking and rolling, what do you see as far as the direction of the hobby? Do you see us at an all-time low? Do you see us back on the rise again? Especially attending a show like Tinley and at that caliber, like what's your vision of the overall hobby?
What do you think?
I feel like more people are gonna like recognize us, and the more we go to shows.
He's talking about snakes, the snake hobby, baby.
Like overall.
So what I think, it's hard for me to answer just because we just recently came in, so I don't know how it was before that. But I hear 2020. I watch videos obsessively and seeing how crazy 2020 was, and I know we came in at a very, very low point, and I think that things have definitely gotten better in the last year. And again, this was our first Tinley, but people said traffic was down. Craig brought up a really good point. He said traffic was down, but the people that were there were spending money.
Yes.
So I think that money was in the building. People were still buying stuff. The excitement's there, and we got new stuff coming down the pipeline that's making it to where people have stuff to chase, and it's not everything's already accomplished type thing. So the fact that there's constantly new stuff coming out, you got new people coming in constantly, I think it's going to get better. I think it's like any other market. I'm a business teacher. Everything ebbs and flows. Things go up and down. And I think a lot of it was a correction from 2020 because of how high it was. So I don't necessarily see it getting back to that or being that, that crazy again. But I don't think it's going to be as bad as it was or has been.
I wholeheartedly agree with you. I say this a lot in a lot of our videos outside of even the lives and stuff, because I'm usually in the comments and the lives on Sundays. But I've said it time and time again that this industry is not the only industry that's experiencing lulls. I mean, it's every industry across the board. If you're in for me, I was in hairdressing for years and years and years. Hairdressing was my thing, and I owned my own spot, and all that. And there's an ebb and flow there. There's an ebb and flow in food industries, you know, like it's across the board. The economy affects everything. And when you're dealing in animals, a lot of times when the economy does struggle outside of our industry,
Right.
you're not going to see as many animals being bought up because people need to feed the ones that they have, you know, and those prices go up and you have to feed your family. And when grocery prices are higher and gas prices are higher, there's just a lot less left at the end of the day for more animals until it comes back around. It's very, you know, up and down. So it's just normal.
I was joking actually with Darren, was it about a month ago or so, a month or two? I was like, hey, Darren, how many times you going to be able to afford those? What was like a $15 taco or something you had ordered? Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you had to cook that at home out in California. I'm like, that's crazy.
We keep telling them. Well, I keep telling them. I keep saying you need to, like, when you do retire, you need to go ahead and just sell out of there and come on and move to this side of the country.
I plan on leaving California, but yeah, it's crazy. Burritos costing. It was a burrito for $15.
Yeah.
Like,
he came for our wedding last year.
And he's like, that's it? That's all I Because I was expecting to spend more than this.
Yeah.
Like, nah, that's it.
It's super cheap over there.
So another question for you, Corey. Now with branding and marketing, we've been watching what you have going on the social media. How are you coming up with your concepts as far as your snake videos that you're putting out?
How do you come up with your ideas?
Oh,
yeah.
Well, usually my dad, he like tells me what I'm supposed to do, and he tells me the stuff that I should be doing, and I usually do it, and then I edit it, and it takes a long time.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's not good enough, and then I re-edit it all.
That's great.
I just told her I'm not going to post bad quality stuff. People don't want to watch bad quality.
I feel the same, Corey. Yeah. I feel the same.
I tell her, I was like, hey, man, you got to do that over.
It takes hours. And then I give it to him, and he's like, that's not good enough.
Yeah.
And what I do is like, because I like to try to do like, you know, different snakes at different times. So that way it's like not the same stuff over and over. So I'll be like, hey, make a post about this snake today. So not necessarily like what it has to be. So she'll be like, all right, it's going to be about Ivy today. And she's going to go make something about Ivy. So then she'll send me stuff and I'm like, all right, hey, yeah, that was great. But the lighting, you know, could you do that one more? And she's like, do you want me? I spent an hour and a half. Do you want me to do it again? I was like, if you would have sent it to me in the beginning, I would have told you the lighting though was off. And then you wouldn't have had to edit all that. So,
Corey,
you know, my bad.
Keep it up.
Same girl.
Yes.
I tell him all the time. How about you edit it for me? And his edits are not good. My edits are way better. Way better.
Yeah, you can tell when I do it. If it looks like a kid did it, then I did it. And it's done well, then she's done it. She's good at it. She's really good.
I've been doing it for a couple years. I've just been like,
there you go,
making YouTube videos and just.
She would make like fake YouTube videos and like, because again, I wouldn't never let her on social media, so she would make all these different videos and edit clips together, and she'd be like, Dad, look at this YouTube video I made. So again, she's been editing videos for real for years, and I was like, hey, you know, with this snake thing, like we can make an Instagram and you can make some real videos if you want. That was just like the coolest thing to her. So
she's been ready. She's been preparing herself for 2 years.
So she gets to do. I feel like she gets all the fun stuff. She gets to handle the snakes. She does all the editing of the videos, and then you know, Dad has to like clean all the poop and the snakes and buy everything. So I'm like, you know, Dad's got the hard part of it, and she gets to be fun, and she's still yelling at me that, you know.
Yep.
Well, because whenever I sit here and I take my time for you, and you're like, get this done today, and I get it done today, and then you're like, no, that's not good enough, and it's the end of the day, then we're both stressing, and we rush to get it done.
He's grading you like a teacher.
Hey, that's right.
Yep.
It's ingrained in them.
Teacher dad, yeah.
Yes. That's
It's
awesome.
a
I
lot.
mean, man, you were the
Lot.
first one I ever seen write down every single gene.
Right.
Every single gene, he wrote it down. I was like, oh yeah.
No.
recessive-
Hey, not every single gene.
Well, every gene that's on Morph Market.
Yeah.
And then I threw out the other ones. I was like, oh, there's this gene and this gene.
Wait,
That's not on there yet.
I will tell you, you probably did hurt his feelings a little bit.
not my feeling. I felt like my time was wasted. Like, or not wasted, but I was
That's how I
like,
feel with the videos.
oh.
I
Okay,
spent hours doing it, and then you come and you're like, "What about this? What about that?"
Oh God.
So yeah. I thought I knew something, and like in 10 minutes, Darren's like, "Nah, dude, you still don't know nothing."
it takes a long time, and more stuff is coming out. So
Yeah.
it's evolving forever.
For sure.
What are the biggest things your dad does that's annoying to you?
Uh-oh. It's just like,
Do we have time for
Yeah.
That's what she looks like.
Look at the time.
Oh, we still have some time. So
Careful, we're on the internet, baby.
it's feeding night, and he'll open the bin when I'm not ready. I won't even have the tongs in my hand, and he'll open it and he'll be like, "You ready?" The thing is halfway open. The thing is already halfway open. The snake's ready, and I'm like, "Dad, where are the tongs?" And then we have to keep, and then he closes it, and then we have to redo it all, and he does it every single time.
I'm ready to go.
And
Yeah.
I got snakes to feed.
Oh man. So I think Wiz he chimed in the comments. He said it was nice meeting you guys. Tinley. I'm guessing you guys got around to meet a lot of the people you follow. You had a lot of good interactions.
For sure.
Tinley
was a blast.
I got to meet Snake Discovery.
Yes, Emily.
Yeah, that's
2 hour
awesome.
line.
2.5.
Yeah.
That's sad. She went out to California and they got like their vehicle broken into.
Yeah, I saw that.
That's
Yes,
horrible.
They got 2 suitcases missing.
Oh,
Half of their stuff was gone.
That's the Bay Area. That's Sacramento. They do that. It's called bipping. They do it all up and down the coast. It's called bipping. Don't leave anything in your cars. Bip.
That's
Bipping.
wow.
Bip.
Yeah, I never heard that. That's crazy. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
something new to us.
They wait for everybody to come in, and if they know you're in a rental, they'll drive around parking lots looking at that. And if they see something in the back of your car, they just break it. Boom.
Wow.
Take it.
It's terrible.
Wow.
People are
It's real here. It's a $15 burrito.
Yeah, no joke.
Got a $15 burrito. Let me snatch it.
Yeah, they probably would out there.
Probably.
Exactly.
I would.
Corey.
So far, I guess with us getting in, we had several people that were already in there, no longer doing it now, that were saying, how toxic the community was. How you pretty much, if you're just getting started, you wouldn't make it, and not saying that we have, we're doing really, really well and we're striving to do even better. We want to kind of turn the page on that kind of story for new breeders and new keepers. Now that you're fresh in, you're a year in, you have all of these positive contacts, positive communication. Yes, you had one mishap where you bought a misgendered snake, but you found your way around it. And now you're kind of getting to know all the other people really involved in the industry. Make sure that you keep your eyes open and make the connections with the people that you need to collaborate with, whether it's to be on lives, whether it's to be on your own live, and keep your branding as you're doing it, no matter how hard it is and no matter how annoying your dad may seem. It's because you're playing around and enjoying something in his field. Business is his field. So it's some of those things like in hairdressing or things that I know nothing about hairdressing, but it's things that you may know. You may not know very many, I'm not going to assume, but not know very many things about business that your dad just kind of is ingrained in him. So it's like when you make some of these issues or mistakes, he's just like, super like fidgety. Like you're supposed to know that, but it's kind of ingrained in them. So accept him for for him, love him as him. Even with the faults that we have as parents. But I say all that because your passion for keeping and breeding, eventually these ball pythons can take you very, very far. I can just tell by your personality.
Attitude.
And I could tell Dad is really holding on to that bond. You really got him into the snakes.
Yep.
And you guys are now working it together. And it's like you two versus Mom. So it's kind of fun.
It's a real battle.
Oh yeah.
100% like facts.
Definitely. So you definitely got our support 1,000%.
Yes, you do.
And we're gonna keep on checking in on you. We're gonna hope to bring you back on after you have your first clutch, and that's a whole nother reason of having this platform and doing interviews. It's not always about doing interviewing big name breeders. It's about bringing on keepers that haven't had any clutches yet.
New people, putting them on to things that
absolutely
when we were starting a couple of years ago, that it would have been nice for us to have. And that's the thing. Like when we start stuff, we keep in mind when we do have success, how we can help other people start their journey and be in a better spot in their beginnings than we were in our beginnings.
Right, because you only know from your experience what you know.
I'm going to tell you, like when we first started, obviously I wasn't completely on board with it, but I trusted him. And if it weren't for the man here that is with us, Darren, like we would not be where we are.
Right.
I mean, he is absolutely a wealth of knowledge, and the friendship that these two have built is not replaceable. So
absolutely,
yeah,
it goes both ways, because where I'm weak. And you do some of that stuff.
He said, "Where I'm weak,
right.
I'm weak."
Yeah,
but it's funny because I feel like a lot of your week is my week. And he is like, he brings us both up. That. So.
We can all do it together.
We can.
It's the big, thing we want to communicate. And just even with criticism, criticism can be good. It is good quite often. And you don't always have to agree on everything. Just know that, someone that's disagreeing with you on a project, on a specific gene, whatever it may be, they're not disagreeing with you with something to gain, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So always keep those people, chime in, message us, message Darren.
Yeah. And
whatever it is.
It looks like you got Vanna here on the
side. Yeah,
Vanna is same area as you guys?
Awesome.
Yeah, she's the Columbus area as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and Vanna is another woman there, Corey, that you can really hook up with and feel, connected with. I told Vanna the last time she was on with us, and Vanna can chime in if she wants to. I was like, when I saw it was going to be you, I want to make sure that I'm here, because it is hard when you're a woman in the midst of so many men. You have to,
world.
Yeah, you're in like but it's nothing without a woman. Nothing. Please leave for that. Please leave for that. But and like when I knew you were going to come on here, I'm like, I make it consider. No offense to all you men out there, but it is hard to put yourself out there with all these men and feel like you're heard.
Right.
So hook up with Vanna, and you guys can talk snakes and really get involved with each other. And
I follow them big, but I'm not sure on the time. I believe it's 7:15 every Wednesday. She's actually producing a show on Off the Plank with DJ and Brandon. So she's always
he's in hatcheries now on there too. He's in hatchery. Brian.
I try to watch it every single week. And again, it's a part of, I'm sure you do the same thing. I always see you guys in our comments as well. We literally look for different breeders. I don't really care if you have 10 followers or subscribers up to thousands. And, I'm watching, I'm listening, I'm trying to engage, comment, whatever I can do to make sure that we're all moving in a positive direction. Because one more thing that both of you talked about, Dustin and Corey, you said that this wealth of knowledge that's so readily accessible now on the internet. You're right. It was not there. Even 2+ years ago, you had it there, but it was still still a little muddied. You know, you're not quite sure what path to kind of go down. And now there's been a huge influx of, I guess, YouTube personalities or content creators, we'll say. Some people frown upon it. I get it, but we personally don't. We think it's a kind of lane for everyone. I get, spreading misinformation on purpose. That's just downright wrong. But if someone has a strong belief or an opinion on something, I mean, they deserve at least to be heard. And for us to receive the information and now make a conscious decision on whether we really want to process it and make it our own or dismiss it. I think that's everyone. So I think everyone has a little bit that they can kind of add to the industry, to the hobby with their own little spin on it. And everyone should be heard in their own way.
Absolutely.
For sure.
You can see that Bano with Off the Plank Tuesdays at 7:15.
Tuesdays at 7:15. Yeah. Oh, at 7:15. I was always yelling at them because I'd be up there waiting at 7, calling them late. That's awesome. So we're gonna go ahead and wrap the show up. We're almost an hour and a half. Went by super smooth and fast. Like I said, very anxious for you guys to do your first breeding and for you guys to have your first set of eggs. So we're looking forward and watching.
And also the first YouTube. I didn't see the YouTube.
Yes.
YouTube. She's been practicing for 2 years, Dad.
It makes
for emotion roasting her dad.
It makes my week too.
Sorry.
I love it.
Yes.
But we'll be back on again. We do the show bi-weekly. So in another 2 weeks, who do we have scheduled next?
It's on the top of my tongue.
My
tongue.
Well,
my
I'm
phone.
sure
He's like, let this compute.
Yeah, it's like, what? Wait. But we'll be back on
it.
Weeks. We try not to do the show every weekend because we want to make sure that we don't saturate our own market, and we want to allow other people to kind of have their content, which we watch diligently. As Audrey gets tired of me watching different shows every single week.
Well, his name is Clarence Smith, but we'll find out what his business name is. But yeah.
Okay. And like I said, if you're in the comments and you're interested in coming on the show, maybe you haven't reached out to us as of yet, reach out to us, either Darren, Sloan Morris, or us over here at Flawless on IG. It's the easiest way to communicate. But if you still have Facebook, we do that as well. And we can get you set up and lined up to come on. We'll talk different things. The only thing we don't do is drama. We don't deal with no drama. We just always.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Yeah. Yep. And that's pretty much it. So we enjoyed having you guys. And
thank you guys so much.
No problem at all. And for anyone that's not following them, not only will we pin it in the actual description of the video, but what is your Instagram handle?
D Reptiles.
There you go. So Instagram.com/KND Reptiles. Go over there, give them a follow, drop them a message, let them know how well they're doing, and let them know that Flawless suits you guys.
Yes.
All right, and we appreciate you guys, and have a good one. Later.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Bye. You have a good day.